Excuse my accent, I'm Greek. Welcome to the book launch of the Greek Persuasion by Kimberly Konstantina Robinson. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for giving us this opportunity. We want to thank also the librarian here for welcoming us. And I want to introduce you also. You will listen to some Greek songs. You will enjoy Greek songs. They're amazing. My Michael Garza, my guitarist and musician as well. He's not Greek, he's American, but he plays Greek songs amazing. And my name is Vasilia. We'll play some songs, we'll welcome you with some songs. And we will start the opening of the event with a song dedicated to Konstantina Kimberly, a song that she loves. Τα παντοτίνα, θάλασσες βούνα κι ό,τι αγαπώ μέσα μου κράτω τις ακρογιαλιές σαν τις αγκάλιες, μια Ελλάδα φως, πέτρα κι ουρανός. Όλοι οι καιροί σκύβουν πάνω από τον Παρθενώνα, μες στους αιώνες τα μάρμαρα κομμάσκοπους τραγουδούν. Πάνω στην Κύπρο με δυόσμο μυρίζει το χώμα και στις Κυκλάδες με χρώματα άσπρα και ήλιο μεθούν. Βράχοι και σπηλιές, σπίτια με αυλές, φύλλα και νερά, λόγια καθαρά, κόσμος τρυφέρος, μέγας και μικρός, μια Ελλάδα φως, πέτρα κι ουρανός. Όλοι οι καιροί σκύβουν πάνω από τον Παρθενώνα, μες στους αιώνες τα μάρμαρα κομμάσκοπους τραγουδούν. Πάνω στην Κύπρο με δυόσμο μυρίζει το χώμα και στις Κυκλάδες με χρώματα άσπρα και ήλιο μεθούν. Όλοι οι καιροί σκύβουν πάνω από τον Παρθενώνα, μες στους αιώνες τα μάρμαρα κομμάσκοπους τραγουδούν. Πάνω στην Κύπρο με δυόσμο μυρίζει το χώμα και στις Κυκλάδες με χρώματα άσπρα και ήλιο μεθούν. Thank you. Just one another Greek song by Glikeria, one amazing singer, famous one in Greece. Let's go, Michael. The song is The Night Smells of Jasmine. Η νύχτα μυρίζει γιασεμίν.
Sorry, one moment, technical difficulties.
Ένας κόσμος, τραγούδια, ένα δάσος αγαπώ, μες στα μάτια σου παίζουνε κρυφτό. Έχεις μπει στη ζωή μου, την καρδιά μου να πονάς κι απ' το γέλιο στο δάκρυ με γυρνάς. Να σε κάνω δικό μου με έναν έρωτα τρελό, Φουρτουνιάζει κι απόψε το μυαλό, το φεγγάρι αλήτης σου χαϊδεύει το κορμί κι η νύχτα μυρίζει για σέμι. Τώρα τι να σου πω, φταίω που σ' αγαπώ. Τα άστερα χίλιοι καημοί κι η νύχτα μυρίζει για σέμι. Τα άστερα χίλιοι καημοί κι η νύχτα μυρίζει για σέμι. Ταξιδεύω μαζί σου κι είναι οι σκέψεις μου κρυφές, μα ταξίδι δεν κάναμε ποτέ. Να σε πάρω δικό μου, σου φωνάζω τις βραδιές, μα δεν ήρθες και σήμερα και χθες. Είμαι μόνη απόψε κι είναι η σκέψη μου φωτιά, η αγκαλιά σου για μένα ξενιτιά. Το φεγγάρι αλήτης σου χαϊδεύει το κορμί κι η νύχτα μυρίζει για σέμι. Τώρα τι να σου πω, φταίω που σ' αγαπώ. Τα άστρα χίλιοι καημοί κι η νύχτα μυρίζει για σέμι. Τα άστρα χίλιοι καημοί κι η νύχτα μυρίζει για σέμι. Τώρα τι να σου πω, φταίω που σ' αγαπώ. Τα άστρα χίλιοι καημοί κι η νύχτα μυρίζει για σέμι. Κι η νύχτα μυρίζει για σέμι. Thank you so much. Let's start the event.
Wow, this is going to be a hard act. Can you hear me? Oh, is it too loud? Okay, great. Well, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to the library's very first book launch event. We've never had it before, so this is our very first one, and we're hoping to have many more to come. My name is Xiao Behlendorf. I'm the library department chair, so I'm so happy to see all of you here. We are honored to have LAVC's very own professor of English, Kimberly Robeson, author of the Greek Persuasion, here with us to share her book, and for her generosity to donate the proceeds of today's book sale to the Foundation's Writing Scholarship and the Library Fund. And if you buy your book today, Professor Robeson will sign the book at the end of the program. So thank you for your generosity as well. I know that you all are very excited to hear Professor Robeson, but first let me introduce a very special guest, Andoni Maropoulos. That's right? Okay. Andoni Maropoulos. Some of you probably recognize him. He played Faye, the season 6 villain for the hit TV series 24. Big fan. Quan Chi, the evil sorcerer in Mortal Kombat Conquest. I just watched the YouTube video today. And the Falcon Man in Hidalgo was Viggo Mortensen. Also, Andoni is an athlete who became a US Open champion in ping pong at age 50. So that's most incredible. Believe it or not, he's also a lifelong type 1 diabetic. So that's even more unbelievable. But Andoni's most incredible glory is a triumph of the spirit that he co-wrote with his hero, his father, Petro. So here is Andoni Baropes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is this for me, by the way? Oops, excuse me. I'm not used to mics, by the way, so you guys all can hear me, right?
Yes.
I have a question. What makes a beautiful person a great person? For me, it's the beauty and sweetness of their soul, their spirit, how they touch the world with love. If we had more Kimberly Robeson types in this world, I believe the world would be a much better place to live, a more loving place. See, Kimberly believes that everyone has the right to pursue their own happiness in life, to be free to explore their world as they desire, as each person's heart desires. As long as we don't encroach on the rights of others, we all have that right to pursue happiness, to pursue love. Presently, Kimberly is an assistant professor right here at Los Angeles Valley College, where she teaches world literature, creative writing, and composition. And she is the co-advisor for the college's LGBTQ+ club. She grew up in Greece, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, and California. She holds a master's degree in comparative literature and has taught English in Greece, Peru, and the United States for the past 27 years. Kimberly, like her yaya, has always been a storyteller, and Greece is always in her heart. She currently resides in Los Angeles with her husband, Hugo, and their 3 bulldogs, Achilles, Iya, and Oppa. Are they here, by the way? Oh. In the past year, Kimberly and I have become close friends. We get together quite often for a cafe, to practice speaking Greek, since we're both Greek Americans, to shoot the breeze, to share our journeys, and just relax a bit. Before bringing Kimberly up, I'd like to share the blurb that I wrote for her debut novel, The Greek Persuasion. A very talented writer, Kimberly K. Robeson takes us on a unique and incredible ride with her complicated and deeply unsettled character, Thayer, a Greek-American professor who travels many times to the island of Kythnos, Greece, to relax and let go of all the stresses of her life. Along her quest for true happiness, Thayer's journey opens up your mind, heart, and soul to the possibilities of sexuality, passion, and ultimately love. Bravo, Kimberly. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored to introduce Miss Kimberly K. Robeson.
Wow. I haven't even started and I'm already crying. How am I going to do this for a whole hour? It's not a whole hour, I promise. Okay, I'm not used to talking with the mic either. Those of my students who know me know I have a pretty good projection when I speak, but I will try the microphone. Thank you, Andoni, for those very kind, beautiful, and generous words. Thank you all for coming here today on a Thursday afternoon that we saw a little bit of rain, but now the sun's come out. I can't thank you enough for being here and being part of my journey. I am a professor here, but I'm also a student, and as I look around, I see some of my film and diversity class. I see my current students, past students who are now in four-year colleges who made the time to come today, so I'm humbled beyond words, and I better stop, otherwise I'll be in tears. I thought instead of starting with my book, I'm a teacher at heart, so I thought I wanted to talk about dreams. Does this come off? Does this come off? Yeah. Is it going to be able to come off and on easy? Okay, so I actually, I'm not really comfortable behind a podium, more comfortable coming out to my audience. Hi, Mayali. So I thought what we could do is we could start and talk about dreams, because as I look around, I think we all have them. Some of us have dreams to be maybe a film director one day, a screenwriter. Some of you may want to be a famous actress one day, maybe get a national commercial. Maybe some of you have dreams to be a biologist and get a job after a great four-year degree, right? Some of you may want to be psychologists. Some of you may have a dream of writing a novel one day. And I always say that when you're pursuing the arts, make sure you do it as a labor of love. Make sure you start with the heart, and that's why you're doing it. I was raised overseas for half my life, and then I moved to, came back with my husband, went to Peru for 6 years, came back, lived in San Diego, lived with my dear mama who sits right here, is already crying, don't look at me. And we lived here, and then we moved to LA. My husband got a job in LA, I followed him. I talked to UCSD where I was working, and I said, you know, my hubby got a job and I'm following him to LA, and I never had any idea what Los Angeles was. San Diego is another world. San Diego is very quiet. I love LA. I am the biggest fan of LA. I have found home in LA. I am such a fan of LA. I'm obviously a fan of Greece, and I'm going to talk a lot about that. But here is a different vibe. I mean, there are a lot of artists, a lot of people who are, quote, trying to make it. You know, you hear fake it till you make it. And I have to say that I don't have to fake it today, because my success is having you here today to listen to me for an hour. My success is holding this beautiful book that I wrote in my hand. So this for me is success. So what I thought I could do is, I'm an English teacher, so if you sat in a chair, you have a piece of paper and a pencil. If you don't, what I'd like you to do is take out a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'm going to make you write. You thought you were just coming here to listen to me? No, you got to write. So what I'd like you to do is take out a piece of paper and a pencil, just a short write-up. And I want you to visualize. I want you to think about your life, okay? Today is May 16th, 2019. I want you to visualize where you will be in May in 2024, 5 years from today. If you have accomplished your dream, where will you be? Will you be retired? Or you're already retired for a while, right? Will you have made a blockbuster film? Will you have written a screenplay? Will you have a degree in English and be a professor here at Los Angeles Valley College? What would you like? Where would you like to see yourself? So, for 5 minutes, just for a few minutes, I'd like you to write it down. Try to be genuine, try to be honest, and not 5 years I want to have won the lottery. Because we really don't get to win the lottery every day, okay? But what would be your dream, okay? So while we're writing for just 5 minutes, if you don't have an envelope, you're going to put up your hand, and I'm also going to come around and give you a little envelope. And while we write, we're going to hear the angelic, beautiful voice of Vasilia. So 5 minutes of writing.
Voy a reír, voy a bailar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la. Voy a reír, voy a gozar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la. A veces llega la lluvia limpiar las heridas, a veces solo una gota puede vencer la sequía. ¿Y para qué llorar? ¿Para qué? Si duele una vena solo vida. ¿Y para qué sufrir? ¿Para qué? Si así es la vida, que vivir en la. Voy a reír, voy a bailar, vivir mi vida, la. Voy a reír, voy a gozar, vivir mi vida, la. Voy a vivir el momento para entender del destino. Voy a escuchar en silencio para contar el camino. ¿Y para qué llorar? ¿Para qué? Si duele una vena solo vida. ¿Y para qué sufrir? ¿Para qué? Si duele una vena solo vida. La. Voy a reír, voy a bailar, vivir mi vida, la. Voy a reír, voy a gozar, vivir mi vida, la. Voy a reír, voy a bailar, vivir mi vida, la. Voy a reír, voy a gozar, vivir mi vida, la. Voy a reír, voy a bailar. Oh, yeah. Vida, la.
So how many of you did not write anything now? You're on my naughty list. Okay, so what I'd like you to do right now is I'd like you to fold what you wrote, and I would like you to put it in the envelope. And if you don't have envelopes, we had some going around. I'd like you to fold it, put it in the envelope, and don't just flap it down, lick it down. Okay? Now what I'd like you to do is I would like you to put on the top, my dream to be realized. My dream on the top of the envelope, once you shut it, say my dream to be realized by May 16, 2024. My dream to be realized by May 16, 2024. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to write open colon. You all know what a colon is, right? Yes. 2 dots, one on top of the other. Open colon on May 16, 2020. Open May 16, 2020. How long ago is that from today? So what are you going to do in 1 year? You're going to put this envelope somewhere where you won't lose it. And every year on May 16, I want you to open it, and I want you to jot down what you have done to get to your dream. Because dreams don't happen overnight. My dream took quite a while. So, to have a dream, we have to have hard work, we have to have perseverance, and we also have to be a risk taker. So every year, keep this little envelope somewhere close by, and in 5 years, if you accomplish your dream, I want you to email me so I can congratulate you. And in 5 years, if you don't accomplish your dream, still email me, and I will help you in any way I can to help you get to that dream. Okay? Deal? Yes. Yay, nay? Yes. Yay. Okay. So, what I want to do is, before I tell you a little bit of specifics about how my dream came about, I thought I should also mention that at the end, we're going to have a quiz. I'm not kidding. So what I'm going to do is, I know students out there, y'all know about Kahoot quizzes, right? Yes, okay. So at the end, we're going to have a Kahoot quiz. And if you win the quiz for some of the things I'm going to mention, you get the big grand prize. It is my favorite little toy, Tinky Winky, that you're going to find out why I love Tinky Winky so much. A free copy of the book, and the Greek Persuasion t-shirt. Tessie, my beautiful niece, can you stand up and show everyone what the t-shirt looks like? What they can win? And my other beautiful niece here from San Diego too, Drew. Okay, so why don't we start it with a free prize, right? Let's just get going with one of our raffles. We can get off the program, can't we? So, Professor Haas, my LGBTQ plus club advisor, is she here? Did she just disappear for a minute? She has the raffle tickets. Did everybody get one raffle ticket? Did everybody get a raffle ticket? Okay, so, and here we have Mr. Castillo, who is our, did I pronounce that correctly? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, Castillo. From Foundation's office, who will be doing the raffle. So what I thought is our first raffle can be a Greek Persuasion mug filled with candy. So that way you can be drinking and visualizing that you're in the Greek islands. So take a look at your number right now on your raffle ticket. And Armine, you do the honors and pick the raffle ticket for us.
It's 6976413.
Oh, yeah.
Again, so it's 6976413.
Winner.
Got a winner? Okay, so, yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see if I have my notes here. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey, because I said things don't happen overnight. So this is the cover of my book, as you all have seen it, and I'll talk a little bit about the process of that. So in 1991, I wrote a short story in my undergraduate class. It was a short autobiographical story. And I remember just loving it. I thought, oh my God, this is what writing is. It's just so much fun. And then in 1998, I actually was with my grandmother, my yaya, in Greece, and I had the very great opportunity to spend every summer in Greece. As I was growing up, my mom, stop crying. My mom's sitting here like crying, you know. So my mother is Greek, born in Egypt, and my grandmother is Greek, but born on the island of Vimvaros, which is now Turkish. And then I ended up marrying a Peruvian, so we kind of have this very multicultural family. So my grandmother was telling me this story about Alexandria and going to the Allied clubs and dancing during World War II. And then that was when the seed was born. I started thinking, wow, you know, my grandmother had to get married to the person that was chosen for her, and then my mother chose to marry someone from Ohio, blonde, blue-eyed, brought her to the United States when she was very young, a fresh 20-year-old, I think. So I started thinking about all the choices that women make. And then when I graduated from college, I moved to Greece when I was a fresh 22 years old to start teaching English. And I remember living there, and I was only 25 years old, and I remember people telling me, "You're going to be an old maid. What are you doing here? You're already 25 years old. When are you going to get married? When are you going to have children?" And so my generation of women, my mothers, my grandmothers, I'm so happy that women have more choices today, but I'm also I also know that for all the choices we have, these traditions, these stereotypes are still alive and well. We have achieved some equality, and sometimes, we are not exactly there. We're not there with people of color. We're not exactly there with the LGBT community. A lot of us, one step forward, two steps back oftentimes. So when I wrote my novel, I thought that all these issues that I wanted to talk about would be long gone because it was set in the year 2000. And yet we're in 2019 and a lot of the issues are still around. So when I finished my first complete draft of my novel in 9 months, hint hint, for our film class. So when I finished the first draft of my novel in 9 months, I faced more challenges because unlike industry standards that says you should write a book that's 80,000 to 100,000 words, I was so excited writing, I wrote a book that was 140,000 words, which translates to about 550 pages. And industry standards for a first-time novelist can only be about 350, unless of course you're famous, then you can do whatever you want. But generally speaking, for someone who's not known, you have to stay within industry standards. So I started going to conferences and started meeting with agents, and I sat down with one woman at a big conference, a big agent, and she loved my novel. And she said, "But I'm a little concerned about the same-sex part." She said, "You have to cut your novel down, so just get rid of the gay stuff," she said. And I was like, wow, and I thought, 2012, and they're telling me get rid of the gay stuff to make it more commercial. So at that point I was like, no way, I gotta do my art. I gotta put it out there the way I wanna put it out there. And so I decided that I would go down the path of making it shorter because it needed to be cut a bit. But I also wanted to look for a reputable publisher who would accept my work as I wanted to produce it. And so I came across a really wonderful woman in the publishing industry, Brooke Warner, and one of my She Writes Press sister authors is here, Bella, who wrote a beautiful book called Raw. And we found this awesome publisher who believes in women's writing and women's stories. We're a wonderful sisterhood. We have a secret Facebook page. We support each other. I also had the opportunity to have my book designed by Julie Metz, who actually did the cover of the Poisonwood Bible and The Power of One, some really big best-selling novels. So when I saw the first 5 pieces of the cover, when I saw this one, it was like, wow, this is it. This is exactly it. So I was so excited to see that. So the morning of my book release, my publicist wrote to me and said, check this out. Look where the Greek Persuasion is. It was mentioned in the South African Bulletin. I had full exposés in all these sources the morning of my book, plus about 70 more. So it was really weird to sort of wake up and go, oh my gosh, my book is really out there. It's out there now in people's hands. And that's when you have a dream, you have to take those risks. We all know that you have to be part of social media, and with social media, you find those things, what are they called? They call trolls, right? And you have to be strong, and you have to just continue to persevere. And so we are now going to talk about the novel itself. But before we start talking about the novel, I have another special guest who is my very talented student, Vinny, and he has actually created an original song for the Greek Persuasion. It's called The Greek Persuasion. So, Vinny, I'm going to let you do your song. Did you want
I just need a stand, that's
Okay.
all. Maybe I might, I'll take, that's not, thank you very much.
And Vinny with The Greek Persuasion.
You hold it, yeah, and then you see the little green light.
Test, test, check, check, check. Hi, how you doing? Oh, I got my pick in my hat.
So I travel and learn and allow myself to grow. Far from home, where is home? Anywhere I roam, to find love, to find peace. Perhaps it's in a stone. I'll fly away, find what's lost, my other half. I'll sail away to find myself, to find my past, to find my other half. Origins give answers, longing to find some hope, but the truth can be so cruel, it alters love's scope. Looking back for love, it's there and then it's gone, much like freedom or justice. We keep searching on. I'll fly away, find what's lost, my other half. I'll sail away to find myself, find my past, to find my other half. I'll fly away to find what's lost, my other half. Sail away to find myself, find my past, to find my other half.
Thank you, Vinny. Wow. Those lyrics also are so poignant for the novel because it's about finding my other half. So let me tell you a little bit. I'm going to read just the back of my book so you have a summary of what the novel is about. So, consumed by a myth about Zeus, a magic sword, and soulmates, Greek-American professor Theramilopoulos Rice has spent much of her life searching for her other half. At 31, she spends a summer in Greece. There, alone on a tranquil island, she begins writing stories about her grandmother's experiences in 1940s Egypt, her mother's youth in 1960s Greece, and finally, her own life in contemporary America, trying to make sense of her future by exploring her past. Will Thayer ever find that missing part of her that Zeus chopped off with the magic sword? Or is the concept of the one just one big fairy tale that has left her searching for someone who doesn't exist? So that is sort of the blurb on the back. That is what the novel is about. And one of the things you probably heard is that, wow, that kind of sounds like you, English professor, mother from Egypt. And so how come it says novel and it doesn't say memoir? Well, just recently I was interviewed by the San Diego Union Tribune newspaper, and I thought I had to answer that question. So I thought instead of telling you a long story why it's not, I thought I would just answer the question that I did. So the reporter asked me this question: how much is your protagonist like you, a Greek-American professor? So this is what I said. I think many debut authors start with what they know, and this was certainly true for me. I adore Greece and wanted to share this amazing country with readers. I took stories from my family and my own experiences as a starting point, but ultimately my characters and their experiences are imaginary. Thayer is open and strong. She's bolder and more introspective than I am. Like me, she is an English professor, so I put her in settings that I could write about in a genuine way. Thayer's love of teaching and her overall philosophies are indeed part of me. So it would be disingenuous to say that Thayer is very different from me. She does share my philosophies, but I can tell you a couple quick anecdotes of why this isn't fiction. So when I finished the first draft of my novel, my dear brother, who's in the back over there with the white shirt, he says, oh, you finished your novel, so where am I in it? What happens to me? And I said, well, you're on the very final page in the acknowledgments. Thayer does not have a brother. A brother wasn't important in the story, you know. What was important was the story was women and their mothers and their grandmothers and women's histories. That's what was important. So there is no brother in this story. And then a little bit later on, he wants to be in the second book. He bought me a locket necklace and he put his picture in it. The locket necklace is a book, and when you open it up, it's a picture of him, so he says, I'm actually in your book. So my second story is when I had a first draft of the novel, my dear Yaya passed 4 years ago now, but we were talking, and I said, yeah, I want to read you part of my novel. And she says, okay. And she was a very sharp woman, bedridden, but her mind was very sharp, and she loved to tell dirty jokes. And she would tell my husband the same dirty joke every year when we would go, like over and over. So that joke is actually in the novel. So there's a joke about an Italian that you have to read the novel to know what happens. It has to do with an Italian and a spaghetti, so you can guess. So my Yaya, I was reading the novel, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not a huge spoiler, but the grandmother character loses her virginity before marriage. Yes, before marriage. And I told my Yaya that, and my Yaya says, oh my God, everyone's going to think I'm a putana. And I'm like, yeah, this is not you. This is a character. She does all these things. She has all these relationships. This isn't you. This is where your fiction takes over. Another situation was I had my character Thayer sitting in a coffee shop, and she's writing. And at this point in the novel, I'm like, okay, come on, meet someone that's going to be substantial. And so this guy walks in. This man walks in. And I expected him, in my storyboard head that's in here, that he would be a Greek guy. It made sense, the Greek persuasion, find a Greek, get married, go back to Greece, right? And instead, all of a sudden, Thayer says, hi, nice to meet you. And he says, my name is Ravi. And I'm typing, and I'm like, Ravi? Ravi? And I go, Ravi, where are you from? My fingers say, well, my parents are immigrants from India. India? Oh my God, I know nothing about India. So that set me on a 3-month quest learning about India, learning about arranged marriages, going to an Indian embassy, interviewing a woman who came from an arranged marriage, who was actually 10 years younger than me. And she got a degree from an Ivy League and went back to Mumbai, and her parents advertised her in the newspaper. And she got a good husband from the newspaper. And my husband and I met this lovely couple in Peru. He was working at the embassy. And I said, when I met them together, they actually have a really great marriage now. He said, when I saw her, I didn't like her nose. And then she turns around, I liked him right away. So it's interesting, but now they're still together. So all of a sudden, here I am researching all this stuff about India. I didn't even know that was going to happen. So that's what happens. So when you write and you really let the creative juices sort of take over, you don't know where your novel is going to go. So the novel really talks about Plato's Symposium. It comes from Plato's Symposium. I read this when I was an undergraduate. And Plato talks about, actually it's not Plato, it's Aristophanes. He talks about this idea of other halves. That at the beginning of time, we were these sort of like these ball people. There were 3 sexes. There was one sex, and they were balls. They had 4 legs, and they had 4 arms, and they rolled around the earth, and they were super duper powerful. And so what would happen is that they were so powerful that they wanted to climb up to the heavens. And Zeus says, no way, I'm going to cut you in half. And you're going to search the earth looking for your other half. And that's the idea, that's the concept of, is there someone out there that is our other half? Now I can also tell you, my longtime best friend of 30 plus years, she is one of the happiest people I know, and she's by herself, and she has wholeness alone. And so, are we people meant to find someone? Are we meant to be a couple with someone to find that wholeness? Or can we all be complete alone for the long term? So these are some of the questions that I pose in the book. So I thought, what if I start a story with a little girl that is being fed this idea of other halves? What if the whole novel starts with a little girl being told a story over and over? You gotta find your other half. You gotta find your other half. I wasn't raised with this story, but I was raised with the idea of Prince Charming. Okay? Many of us know, especially if you're over a certain age, we're supposed to marry, we're supposed to have children, that's what we're supposed to do, right? I see a lot of the women going, Some of my students who are mothers. And so I thought that's where I would start the novel. So I'm only going to read you a couple of very short bits, just 2 minutes, and this is the prologue. This is how the book starts. Do I go like this now? So this takes place in a fantasy sort of suburb of San Diego. I called it Rancho Fierno. Can anybody guess why I called it Rancho Fierno? Any ideas? It's not exactly fire in Spanish, but I thought it was the fire of hell. There you go, Vinny, right? Okay, so this is taking place in 1976. So some of you probably weren't born for quite a while. So 1976, here's a little girl, she's 7 years old, and this is the bedtime story she's given every single night. Mama, tell me the story again, please, Mama. Okay, she says, while taking my hand in hers, rubbing my palm lightly with her fingertips, hoping to lull me to sleep. So once upon a time in ancient Greece, at the top of Mount Olympus, all the gods would meet. Zeus would sit on his throne with Hera beside him and make decisions about the Greek people. Mama, was your alive during that time? I always ask questions like that. No, sweetie, that was a very long time ago, even before your grandmother was born. Mama, tell me about the Zeus and the ball people. Well, people back then were round, kind of like big soccer balls. They had 4 arms, 4 legs, and 1 head with 2 faces. Each face had 2 eyes, a nose, and mouth. They couldn't see each other, right, Mama? No, but one always knew that the other was close. One was stuck right behind the other. They shared one mind, one heart, and were eternally joined. And Mama, they would roll around the earth, right? Yes, they would roll around the earth, moving quickly, powerfully, as they used their arms and legs to travel at great speeds. They were strong, and they were happy, really happy, because their other half was always right there, connected to them. As she speaks, Mama notices that I'm no longer smiling. What's wrong, Agapimo? She says as she takes a strand of my dark hair and moves it off my cheek. I guess, well, I was just thinking it would be nice if people were still like that. Really? You don't think it would be uncomfortable to roll around instead of having 2 separate legs and 2 separate arms? I was just thinking, if your other half was always stuck to you, then Daddy wouldn't be at work so much. My mother lowers her eyes and a quiet voice continues. So do you want to hear the rest of the story, or shall we save it for tomorrow? Okay, Mama, we can save it. I already know that mean Zeus will take out his magic sword and slice all the ball people in half. There, the way you say that makes it seem like such a sad story. It is a sad story. I wish people had their best friends stuck to them from the beginning and you didn't have to look for them. Mama pats me on the head. You know, sweetheart, you're right. Zeus was a mean fellow. It would be easier if we didn't have to look for our other half, and we were born with that special person stuck to us right away. But let's remember the great part of the story, that our other half does exist. And one day, baby, when you grow up and you're a young lady, you will meet a nice boy that will make you so happy, and all your worries will be over. So we know that that's not how life works, right? A lot of other things can happen along the way. Do I just pull this? I'm not used to doing this. So we know that life is not that simple, that we don't just meet someone and form coupledom and then live happily ever after, that things happen along the way. So what happens to my character is that she spends her life looking for this other half, looking for herself. I had a lovely Greek friend one day, and I was about 20 years old, 21 years old, and I was living in Greece. About 22 years old, I just moved there. And I was talking to her about, being lost, looking for ourselves. And she says, my brilliant Greek friend says to me, you Americans, you all say you're lost. You all say you're lost. Come here, let me show you something. I said, what? She says, come here. She shows me a mirror. She goes, there you are. So a little bit more pragmatic and a little bit easier of how we find ourselves. And I do realize every day that I'm here on this earth, I realize what a privilege I have. I have so many privileges, I can't even count them. And I think that's why I care so much about different communities that don't have the privileges that I have. Because I feel that we can be allies, we can be from a community, but that's what we have to do, is we have to share this compassion. And so there is a part of the novel where Thayer is searching and searching and searching and trying to find this happiness. And, you know, on the other side, you know, she's privileged and she can do this. You know, other women have to walk miles just to carry water for their families. And so I do completely understand that this is a privilege of my protagonist, also a privilege that I've had, you know, being who I am today. So at this point in the novel, Thayer is 30 years old. She has broken up with, or they have broken up, a long-term boyfriend, and she is going back to the island of her grandmother, the island of Kythnos. So some of the influences of the story, here's my grandmother in the middle. It's also, for those of you who have gotten the novel, it's the very first page. This is a picture that I grew up with, seeing every day with my yaya. My dear yaya had this on her on her nightstand. So when she passed a few years ago, it was the most important picture for me to get, and that's the one I put on in the inside of my novel. And then here's my naughty little mama with her sister, and my grandfather, my papu, in Egypt. So this was one of the influences. So, next one, please. So that was the other half that I talked about. Hedwig and the Angry Inch is also really important. If you have seen The Origin of Love, it has like a little representation of the other one. Really great musical. So this is the island of Kythnos. So this is the island that I chose to set my novel on. I think when we hear about Greece, we hear a lot about Santorini and Mykonos and Rhodos, and you know, but there's so many islands. I don't even have any idea how many islands there are. There's so many. And so this is the island where she goes back to. This is the fictional island, because that's not the island where I grew up. So this is an island where she goes back to, and she is now 30 years old. And she has decided to rent a little cottage on a cliff, and she is going to have some adventures while she's there. And from this little cottage on the cliff, she is she's thinking about her grandmother. She is visualizing in this little kitchen. She has come here to be by herself for 3 months and just stay and write and be by herself. And so it's this idea of solitude and being all alone. Alicia, can you help me? Maybe just hold it from me. Sure. Here?
Oh, here.
Yeah. And this is one of my wonderful friends, Alicia, who also did a blurb for my novel too. A very very accomplished actress. Okay. While making my breakfast, I put on a patio CD and an ancient boombox that is on the kitchen counter. It skips a few times, and then a familiar song begins. I see myself, 19 years old, tan, svelte, dancing in front of my yaya. My knees bend to a hasapiko dance, and she tells me that I'm looking funny, that I'm bastardizing the dance by Americanizing it with a slight shake of my booty. Then I dance siftateli for her. My arms are like snakes in the air. My hips move like a belly dancer's, and she pretends to look away. You look like putana, she tells me. The neighbors might see me and they might know that Dita's granddaughter from the US is indeed a whore. I know she doesn't mean it, using the word putana playfully, but one thing is true, appearances always matter here. I get winded dancing a short sirtaiki. Anthony Quinn has entered my body. I am Zorba, free, powerful, with an insatiable zest for life. Then finally I dance the zibekiko, the man's dance. A strange look crosses Yaya's face, the one that I will never forget, reminding me of the faces of women I have seen in pictures who are marching for women's suffrage. Looks of defiance, strength, determination. She is still in the kitchen with me, her commanding expression so vivid. The words out of her mouth say, "There, stop. That dance only for a man." But her eyes betray her real feelings, so I continue. I'm circling wildly with my arms outstretched, with each tapping of my hand to the ground. Her strange look turns to one of inward pride at my stubbornness, still pretending to be upset. As she stifles her smile, she explains, "You know, listen to Yaya, huh? You do what you want." I jump to my feet as the song ends and run to her, planting a big kiss on the top of her forehead as she pushes me away, wipes her forehead of my kiss. But Yaya is not sitting on the chair, Instead, I'm twirling around in an empty kitchen. Right? I'm twirling in an empty kitchen, and I'm alone. Just an orange cat lies on the cool tile floor, watching me as if I have gone insane. Okay, so we are coming up to a part where Thayer now is on this island, and she has an adventure that I don't want to tell you about because it will ruin the story. But she sort of stretches a little bit, and so can we see the next slide? So one of the questions is from the reporter was, why is this not a typical love story? Why is this not just, a woman, heterosexual woman who falls in love with a heterosexual man and yay, they go off and get married? And so this is how I responded to one of the reporters. At one point in the novel, the protagonist there has an interaction with an adult student named Angela. She tells Thayer that when it comes to love, it doesn't really matter. Man or woman, no preconceived stereotypes. No society dictating what's right and what's wrong. If people didn't see color, race, religion, or even gender, if others were more open, then they would see that there are a hell of a lot of people out there to love. Thayer takes this advice, and even though she's very traditional at heart, she opens herself up to love. And as a result, she has various relationships that interrupt her previous values of a typical love story. So the novel goes in a lot of different directions that were very organic for me. I wasn't trying to do something, I was just absolutely writing from the heart. So this next section, and the last that I'll be reading before we have a quiz and another raffle, this one is when Thayer right now is going over to her best friend's home. Her best friends are a gay couple named Rick and Frank, and they're the most loving gay couple that she knows. In fact, she just admires them. They're the happiest couple she knows. They've been together for about 8 years in the novel, and they really want to get married, but it's 2005. And in 2005, you can't get married if you're gay, okay? And so she goes over to their home, and it's Valentine's Day. And many of you know that I have an aversion to Valentine's Day, but nowadays I don't. Nowadays I know it's just a day of celebration and of love. But in my younger years, when I wanted to be in the coupledom, Valentine's was hard for me, and so I think this is where I wrote this passage from. I kind of pulled from those feelings. It's Valentine's Day. I can't believe I'm going over to a couple's house instead of wallowing in wine by myself. Rick called a few minutes ago. Thayer, what are you doing? I just opened a bottle of wine, I grumbled. With whom will you be having this wine, Mademoiselle Thayer? With my 3 favorite guests, me, myself, and I. I say this as I joke because I'm trying not to feel sorry for myself, but this damn holiday's the worst. Wherever you go, there's all this red. Red roses, red stuffed animals, red boxes of chocolates. I know it's just another day, but all this romantic crap everywhere makes me feel lonelier than ever. Thayer, just hop in your car and come on over, he said. Are you sure? I mean, it's Valentine's Day and you too? Thayer, I'm hanging up. We'll see you soon, okay? Okay, I finally replied. Thank God for Rick and Frank. Emily and Mark are celebrating some anniversary, and when I called my mom, she was already in bed. The truth is, I really don't want to be alone tonight. I put the cork back into the bottle of the $9 Costco wine and go into my room to change. It takes me about 20 minutes to get to Hillcrest, and when I see the little coral house, I feel better. Hi, sweetie, Rick says as he opens the door before I can even ring the doorbell. I stand there with a dozen red roses for the lovers, what the hell, and a bottle of Pinot Noir 97 Calera Reed. It was expensive, and I was saving it for a special occasion, but on the way out of my house, I decided tonight is special enough. Sticking both my offerings out, as soon as Rick opens the door, I hand him the wine and flowers. He juggles them while simultaneously giving me a kiss on the cheek. Frank is sprawled out on the big purple couch, the Tinky Winky couch, he calls it. They named it that after some religious zealot cautioned parents that one of the Teletubbies, hint hint, subtly depicts homosexuality because it is purple with a triangle on its head. The pink triangle being a gay pride symbol, a symbol that was used by Nazis to shame homosexuals, but now is embraced by the gay community. The fanatic spreads fear, saying that Tinky Winky subconsciously enters the mind of toddlers and introduces them to a gay lifestyle. My first reaction was, how absurd. But after reading the ridiculous rant in the New York Times, I never did see Tinky Winky the same way, with its high-pitched voice and little red purse. Now I love Tinky Winky even more. As Frank is happily lying on the purple couch, I stand there thinking, it's unfortunate the measures crazies take to breed ignorance rather than compassion. And so what if Tinky Winky is gay? In fact, yay, let's see more people represented in our media. Frank sees me standing there pensive, puts down his magazine and slides his leg to the side of the couch. Don't get up, I say, while making my way over to him. Frank is wearing a Travolta tight t-shirt and Levi's. I know he's more than 100% gay based on the Kinsey sale and absolutely taken, but it's hard not to notice his physical beauty. I have learned a lot from these two, all about a world I didn't know existed. At one point, Frank was offered an excellent job in Panama, but was not able to take it because after Rick's visitor visa would expire, he would have to leave. The company, because of the country's laws, could not support same-sex couples. Rick and Frank had made me aware of so many issues that I had rarely thought about as a heterosexual woman. But now, I too am different because of what had happened. Da-da-da-dum. Okay, so I thought what we would do is we would have a raffle for the t-shirt. And then if you had any Q&A for maybe about 5 minutes, and then we'll do our quiz for the grand prize, okay? So Haas is my co-advisor for the LGBTQ+ club on campus and does some really wonderful work here. Yeah, I don't know her already. And she is my biggest support. She's always there for me. Okay, I'll let you start. Yeah? Yeah?
All right. It's 6976409. 6976409.
Okay. Any Q&A? We have a few minutes. Any questions you'd like me to answer? I've covered it all. That's a good teacher, right? Okay.
I'd like to know what it's like for your husband while you're writing this novel.
I see him going, he's like, oh my goodness. I am blessed with a husband who is 100% supportive. And can I tell a story about mi suegra linda? Yeah. And so my mother-in-law was talking about the book, and she said, oh, this would be a perfect book for book club in Peru. And I'm like, maybe not. So it is really important to put all kinds of stories out there. And when my husband read my book, he was, a little bit hesitant. Oh my goodness, because this does kind of sound like you. But he's just been really supportive of all the different stories I've said. And there's a character that he wonders about how I represented. But you have to read the novel and see. But it's been a really great journey. He's been very supportive.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the Greek mythology that you mentioned about a perfect being with 4 legs, 2 pairs of eyes, and something I heard about that God thought that they were so perfect that they divide them into 2 and they scrambled them in many places, so they end up searching for each other and they're busy. because together, combined into one, they're perfect. They're almost like God. And I don't know if that's the theme of your story, always looking for love.
I used to think that we were always all looking for love. You know, I used to have this idea that everybody was looking for love. And then I met, you know, a couple of friends. I'm going to mention Bettina at this point, who's my best friend of 35 years. And she's a single woman who is completely alone, and she's not in love, and she's not in a relationship. And so I think there's a lot of models for people. I don't think everybody has to be in love or has to be in this coupledom, and I know now there's lots of other kinds of relationships, like polyamory and this and that and all kinds of good stuff. So I don't, personally, how I feel and how Fair feels sometimes diverge, because, you know, she's looking for something. And I can say from an autobiographical perspective, I was in quite a few relationships, but never married until my husband. And I went from a 2-year, 5-year, 7-year relationship into time alone. And I remember I bought my first home with the help of my mama, a beautiful condo in Encinitas. And I was driving, and I had just done a gym workout, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and I was completely alone for a long time. And I just looked and I thought, wow, I'm happy, you know? I'm happy. And then I went to a conference at UC Berkeley and saw this guy, and he took me to Peru for 6 years. So yeah, I think that I understand now, especially with the LGBTQ club, I'm learning a little bit more about asexuality, and there's so many different spectrums of all the different parts of the abbreviation. So I just think that I always just say, you know, go into a dark room and close your eyes and try to be happy, you know, and figure out what's going on inside you if you can afford that time.
Mike, I read the book and I loved it, and you have some really great characters in there. Now, my question for you, if you were to write a follow-up novel, which one of the characters would you pick and tell the backstory of? Because I think, like, for me, Dita, I think she's a great story that, like, the Egypt 1950s, like, that would make for a great novel, and the choices she had to make, just amazing. So who would you pick?
Yeah. That's a great question, because a lot of people do want to know more about the Dita character. And she is one that I've actually thought about doing another novel on, probably when I retire, because after this I think I'm going to take 15 years off of writing because of all the work that's involved. But that would take a lot of research, because I would want to know more about that life. And for the Greeks here in Cypriots, Imbros was an island that is now Turkish, and at one point when my grandmother was born there, it was Greek. So that would take a lot of research for the war, etc. So I do have a second novel completed. It fits the standards. It's 80,000 words, the first draft. It's very commercial. It's very straightforward. And a lot of people told me, publish that one first, because that one's like, it's a lot more commercial. But I had to go with my heart, and I had to go with a story that was really close to my heart, and so that's why I did this one first. It might not find the commercial success that, you know, it would be nice to have, but as I mentioned at the beginning, you know, this is success. This is success for me. But that is the character, and there is another little character in there that I know you know. I won't tell about, and I think she would have a really great backstory too. Yes. Okay, so what I'd like to do now, Haas, are you set up for the... So what we'll do is, so there was a couple other slides while they're getting the Kahoots quiz set up. Some of the other settings of my novel, one setting is in Kamenavurla, and that is actually the village of where I grew up. So my mother and my grandmother is from Athens, and so we had a beautiful summer house 2 hours up the coast where I would go to every year. And that's kind of where I felt my sanctuary, and I felt very calm and happy there. And so it was really important for me to sort of bring that little village back into my novel. So after Kithnos, she actually comes back again to Greece, and she goes to this village called Kamenavurla. So if you, I know some people in the audience have already said to me they've already booked a trip to Greece, I think 3 of you. So yes, come to my office, let's chat, I can give you some tips. Because there are so many places in Greece that my husband and I, we try to go to Greece every year, we go to the islands. But this year, because it's a really important birthday, this summer is going to be my 50th birthday. Say it out loud. I love to say my age. I'm not someone who who skirts away from their age. So for my 50th birthday, we're going to rent a car and we're going to drive the whole coast of Greece and we're going to see parts of Greece that I haven't seen before. So I'm really excited about that. Another setting in the novel is called Meteora. And does anybody know what Meteora is? Anybody ever seen Meteora? So Meteora are these beautiful churches that are built at the top of the mountains. Has anybody been there? You been? No? So Meteora. So it was also important for me to mention Meteora in my novel because my favorite band wrote a CD that's called Meteora. Anybody know who my favorite band is? Linkin Park. I'm a diehard Linkin Park fan, and so I got to see them in Greece with my husband up close and personal, and maybe rest in peace. And so I wanted them to go to Meteora too. So what we're going to do now, before if you have your Kahoot, if you're sitting beside someone that knows how to help you log in and you want to play, you can ask for some help. Yeah. Okay. Here, I'm gonna let Haas take over and get some water.
So for this, you will have to use your phones, and if you can go to kahoot.it, you don't have to download anything. You do not have to purchase anything, download anything. Just go to the website and it will ask you for a PIN number and enter this number and the username, and you can pick your name, you can pick a funny name, you can pick whatever you want. And so after you enter, it will appear on the screen, and then we will ask you a few questions. You will answer that on your phone. Colors correspond to questions, and you pick the answer choice that you think is correct. And it's very easy and interactive, so I hope you have fun. Thank you. Yeah. So we'll give you a few minutes to start doing that, and then we'll begin.
I think there might be one right there on the side. Let me see if this reaches. So here, let me give you this.
This is what Tinky Winky sounds like.
I have to be very close to here.
How are we doing? Still logging in?
Is everyone in? Yeah, very good. Let's start.
Anybody else want to get in that's not in yet? Good? Everyone's in? Okay. So, hold on a second before you begin.
Oh. We can go back. Are you sure?
So how long did it take for Kimberly to write the first draft of the Greek Persuasion? And the answer is 9 months. 9 months for the first draft. What were some of the challenges Kimberly faced when writing the Greek Persuasion? She did not have enough time. An agent told her to delete the same-sex part. Her novel was too long for industry standards, or all of the above. And the correct answer is all of the above. So this is a scoreboard. What is the concept of The Other Half based on? The Hunger Games, The Odyssey, Plato's Symposium, or The Bachelorette? And the correct answer is Plato's Symposium. So let's look at the scoreboard and see where we're at. So, okay, we'll go next time. Yaya means, what does yaya mean? Mother, father, grandfather, or grandmother? And the answer is grandmother, yaya. Okay, let's stop there. So who's Zeus? Can we see Zeus? Who's Zeus? So Zeus right now is in, TJ's in the lead. Who's TJ? TJ's back there in the lead. We have Zeus. Who's Birdie? Birdie's here. And we have LaCobb. Who's LaCobb? LaCobb's over there. And who's JKG? Okay, so it's getting close, y'all. You gotta be fast. Okay, next one. Alexandria is in Jordan, California, Egypt, or Greece? And the answer is Egypt. Okay, we still have Zeus at the top. Zeus is still leading. Okay, next. Tinky Winky has not come out yet, a symbol of gay pride, a Teletubby, or it's misunderstood. It's a Teletubby. Zeus still on top. Birdie coming in close. How many more questions do we have? So we know 2 more questions. 2 more questions. The protagonist there is searching for an intelligent man, a beautiful woman, a lovable bulldog, her other half. Her other half. Okay, let's see a scoreboard before we do our last. Zeus is still ahead, and we have 1 final question. Okay, so Zeus, Birdie, and JKG. Okay, and let's go. Should people follow their dreams? Yes, absolutely, for sure. All of the above. And yes, for sure, you should follow your dreams. So, dun-dun-dun-dun, and the winner is Zeus! Woo! So Zeus gets, oh yeah, because Zeus, right? Zeus wins a t-shirt, a Tinky Winky, and a copy of the novel.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna do two more little things. I lost my glasses. It's not every day that someone gets to write a novel and get people here, so I really wanted to just take a few moments and thank people that are here today. So I'm going to read from my acknowledgements. I used to be a person who never read acknowledgements, and now as an author I always go to the end. The acknowledgements are sort of the place I start now. I'm always curious who helped people on this journey. So I just want to read this, and then we're going to have a few more songs from our beautiful Vasilia and Michael. And while we're doing that, if you'd like to get your book signed, we can do that also. If you are buying a book today, 100% of the proceeds are going to the Foundation for the Writing Scholarship. You get a free bookmark. And so, my acknowledgements. I did this at home for my mom and I cried, so I think I'm going to be good this time. First and foremost, I want to thank Hugo Daniel de la Rocha Sarmiento. That's why I didn't take his name too long. You are my beginning and you are my end. I want to thank two women who read draft after draft, Vanessa and Bettina, my Peruvian Yale student who's now my good friend, and my best friend Bettina. My first four readers, Jean, Claudia, Vicky, and Daphne. I want to thank my writer buddies, Jim Mastro and Alicia Bien. Can you wave for us, please? She's heard my angst for the last 7 years, or 5 years. My editor, John Barnier. If you get to see this later, John held my hand at the end like no other person, answering every single email. An amazing, amazing person who helped me so much at the end. I want to thank my colleagues. I don't know if you're still hanging out. Thank you if you are. There's Patrick back there, Christina, hi, Lily. I want to thank the students. You know, if you all know me, some of you know me as a student in class and not as a teacher. And I don't have all the answers, and I just try to do my best. So when I make mistakes, please be patient with me and just help me become a better, more understanding, more educated person on all these issues as we go through life. I always have an open door. I want to thank my dear mother, Mama Angela. The mother character in the novel is a little bit closed-minded and suffocating. And that's why, if you all remember, little breadcrumb, the quote from the student who talks about loving anybody despite gender, race, color, or age, is by a student in the book who is an African-American woman who is also a lesbian. But I named her Angela as sort of a tipping of my hat to my real mama, who is actually very open-minded and very kind and very different than Phaedra in the novel. I want to thank my brother Ray, who's in the back. I said, you're an indelible mark in my heart. I love you and respect you so much. Thank you. Thank you to my Peruvian families, my American families, to Tess and Drew, my two nieces. They're my babies. That's why I probably didn't have any, because they fill my heart. They are the new Wonder Women. They teach me every day what it's like to be a strong young woman. They are just amazing, amazing creatures. Women, girls, she's, theys, I don't know where you're gonna go in life, but I love you inside and out. In Greece, Lucy's my best friend, my papu, my yaya. I'm gonna read this last part, word for word. Thank you to Adoni for the blurb and the welcome. Thank you to Alicia, an accomplished actress. She's just really great friend too. And this is the end. And thank you to Greece. Thank you to Shao and Raul for putting this on. Thank you so much to LAVC and Los Angeles. You are in my heart now. This is home for me. And maybe one day in about 20 years when I have enough retirement, I can go back to Greece. So this is for Greece. And thank you to Greece. My love affair with this country can be best described through Homer's epic poem. Odysseus had Circe and Calypso, two beautiful enchantresses, but he still wanted to go home to his Ithaca and to his Penelope. Your home is not necessarily better than anyone else's, but it's yours. And after 20 long years, he goes back. And one day, Protathos, I will have the sweet soil of Greece on my feet again permanently, and I'll be there with my husband. And we'll be drinking good wine. That's not in the novel. We'll be making it too. Mostly I'm grateful for chance or fate that led me to Hobson's choice and I met my husband. And I don't have to fight or journey without him by my side. Ugo, you are my home. Thank you for your endless love, your support. And even though I absolutely do not believe in Principe Azules, I believe in you. You are my peace, and I love you with the whole of my being. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, Kimberly, for the moments. You will enjoy an original song, Hold You Enough, by me, music and lyrics, and the support of Michael Garza. Let us believe in some dreams that we're allowed to. If there's anybody who could feel, now it's time, you are about to. If there's nothing comes to cease, before I break love in two, before I let you leave, because I hold you enough to remember. Me all the time. You're here but out of reach. Oh, the lie. But I will let you live another day just for us, far away from the true love. Have the truth, 'cause I'm around you, and I don't know what you feel, if your lips are just another kind of you, but my heart cannot obey. In front of mine you're afraid, and if I choose to leave, because I gave you my last thing. Remember, it was me all the time. It's here, but you can find all the lie. But I will let you live another day just for us, far away from the true love. Maybe one day you find your own way, and I'll be far away, 'cause love is our temporal. 'Cause truth is kills the sun, 'cause truth is kills the fun, 'cause truth is kills the sun, the love, the fun, the love. Remember, it wasn't me all the time. You're here but out of reach. Oh, the lie. But I will let you live another day just for us, far away from the true love. Thank you.
Let's sing Adonis, the last one, to close it.
Όπου κι αν δεν σε πάντα εδώ.
Πώς θα πω. Είπα πριν.
Όπου κι αν πας θα σε πάντα εδώ. Θα έχεις κλειδί και θα ανοίγεις την πόρτα. Όμως φοβάμαι μωρό μου μη φύγω εγώ. Έλα να πάμε οι δυο μας μια βόλτα. Πάμε στον Άδωνη για καφέ που πηγαίνουν τεκνά και φρικιά και αράζουν εκεί αθλητές και που πηγαίνει και μία χοντρή νευρικιά Κυριακή να της φύγει το στρες κι όλα μοιάζουν ένα τίποτα και κυκλοφορούν ανύποπτα. Είσαι η λαχτάρα μου, ο καφές και τα τσιγάρα μου. Ό,τι κι αν ζήσουμε το έχουμε δει σαν μια σκηνή από άλλη ταινία κι όλος ο κόσμος μωρά μου μπορεί και το ζει. Έλα κερνάω καφέ στην πλατεία. Πάμε στον Άδωνη για καφέ που πηγαίνουν τεκνά και φρικιά και αράζουν εκεί αθλητές και που πηγαίνει και μία χοντρή νευρικιά Κυριακή να της φύγει το στρες κι όλα μοιάζουν ένα τίποτα και κυκλοφορούν ανύποπτα. Είσαι η λαχτάρα μου, ο καφές και τα τσιγάρα μου. Πάμε στον Άδωνη για καφέ που πηγαίνουν τεκνά και φρικιά και αράζουν εκεί αθλητές και που πηγαίνει και μία χοντρή νευρικιά Κυριακή να της φύγει το στρες κι όλα μοιάζουν ένα τίποτα και κυκλοφορούν ανύποπτα. Είσαι η λαχτάρα μου, ο καφές και τα τσιγάρα μου κι όλα μοιάζουν ένα τίποτα και κυκλοφορούν ανύποπτα. Είσαι η λαχτάρα μου, ο καφές και τα τσιγάρα μου.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.